Plenty of drugs that cure.
Okay, what drug
Polio.
cures things?
Polio vaccine. Done.
Okay, polio vaccine doesn't cure things. It prevents you from getting polio.
The disease is
Do you
effectively
understand what you just said?
Yeah.
You just
He's so mad. I don't get how you can be so stoned and so angry. This is wild. I recently was I was watching Shody Cody's latest thing on Steven Crowder, which is really good. Some more news. I go recommend watching it. It's highly entertaining. And clips from this popped up. I haven't seen this for like, I think maybe 2 years. Whenever we made that Steven Crowder video, that's when I watched the whole thing in full. But I forgot that he had a fight with Joe Rogan, and they ended up debating about marijuana. So I wanted to see how that went down a little bit.
Who's conservative Republican is if they can make you a moron, they will. If not, you're evil. Right?
See,
Dick Cheney can't be a moron, so he's evil.
I think you're confusing the narrative a little bit because Reagan might have been simplistic, but he was a wonderful speaker. Like he gave really articulate, well thought out speeches that spoke to Americans, again, long.
It's the one where basically Crowder is always doing this persona of being a tough guy, of being a cigar-smoking cowboy, or basically Uncharted with the 2 straps, never stop fighting on the t-shirts. And when it comes down to it, in this discussion, you can really see how much of that is LARPing. Like he's trying to LARP as this person who loves cigars and drinking whiskey and all this kind of stuff.
For this nostalgia of a time where the Norman Rockwell painting made sense.
Right.
And that's what Ronald Reagan represented to a lot of people.
Yeah.
A lot of people, they were coming out of the chaos of the Carter administration and the fucking Vietnam and
gas lines.
Gas lines and the Iranians taking the American hostages and all that crazy shit.
So basically, he set up the economic devices that are continuing to cripple the American middle class, as well as funnel money into the richest Americans' pockets. He's destroyed unions. He was enacting things that are definitely high treason, but at the same time, he was a good orator. He spoke well.
Shit, and Ronald Reagan came along. He's like, I'm gonna fix it. I'm your dad, and everybody's like, we're in.
Yeah, but the media treated him like a real moron. If you go back and watch that, and right before his landslide election win, they made. If you look at the electoral map, sort of the polls and the predictions, they gave him no chance of winning. Mm-hmm. And that's what a lot of people
proved
pointed.
You're full of shit about Colorado and traffic deaths. Should we go and fuck you up with this too?
Yeah. When you have your guy looking up
sources.
sources.
Feel bad about the Colorado thing at all?
What? I never said Colorado. I said states that legalize marijuana.
What other ones are there?
Well, you didn't bring up the source that I wrote about.
I can.
But the fact that you're still hung up on it.
Hold please. What?
I got the article. I've been looking at it for the last few minutes on your website.
Yeah.
There's a couple statements that are really bad just off the gate, like this right here. If you want to get high, you're a moron.
Well, getting high will make you more of a moron.
That's not a news article.
Right. Hold on, please.
That's commentary.
Hold on. But fine. After all, things like Coachella wouldn't exist. Is this your article?
Yeah.
It's an article on my site.
Oh, wait a minute. If you want to get high, you're a moron?
Yeah, I think
you think you're a moron?
I didn't know it popped off like this. This is great.
And Courtney believes that, yeah.
Who's Courtney?
She works probably one of the best writers I think I've ever encountered.
How dare you not read then?
But so then the article links to a couple,
upset.
like this, for instance, is one that says it has deadliest year of traffic fatalities since 2008.
Yeah.
This article doesn't say anything about marijuana, not one thing. Doesn't mention weed at once.
Oh, they're fact-checking Crowder. As fun as this is, why couldn't you do this for any of the other horrible things he says? When he says all those horrible things about trans people, why not do that? Like, can you pull that up? No, that's really unscientific what you're saying. You're just factually incorrect.
It does say that it could be attributed to lower gas prices, people driving more.
It was the weed. It was the weed all along. It was the only thing. We basically need every horrible conservative pundit to come on the show and just badmouth weed. And then Joe Rogan probably would have had a much better arc. Like, that's a better timeline somewhere, If we could only have gotten, Ben Shapiro to sit down and be like, marijuana's terrible. It causes all kinds of problems. And just have Joe be like, what?
More people in the state.
Sure.
Et cetera, et cetera.
Well,
but
more
that's
people in the
that's
state.
Not the only thing. Hold on a second.
No,
This is important. I'm going to defend myself here. Because you have someone here at the ready, and what you do is, instead of bringing up information, this is what happens with Christopher Titus, right?
It's the same defense that he would use later with Sam Cedar. That's wild. You see what you do here, and I know what you're doing, okay? What you're doing is you just bring on someone unprepared. I'm not even ready for this, so what am I supposed to do here, okay? What's going on here?
don't have information that you bring up. You have another guy look up a source that you specifically want him to find.
I didn't ask him to bring that up.
Yes,
He just
you
brought
did.
it up.
He brought up Washington Post and goes, "This is what's wrong with your article." Taking a
No,
joke out
he
of
had already been
context.
talking. You didn't have a joke.
The joke in there about things like Coachella wouldn't exist if there weren't.
Okay,
That's clearly
her
a joke.
in that article.
That's a joke,
Right, but-
to try and go, do you think people who smoke pot are morons? No, it's a joke.
Okay.
Let's not do that.
Okay.
Let's not do that.
Well, and
Wait. After all, things like Coachella wouldn't exist if potheads weren't there to attend. Just don't drive, operate any machinery, or be around children. All things, by the way, a responsible person would have known. But since you're actively dumbing yourself down on purpose, we have to spell it out for you. Thanks for that. And no, pot's not comparable to alcohol. There are tests that determine how much alcohol content is in your bloodstream. We can't do that yet with weed, so it's impossible to handle these incidents in the same way, which makes the entire ordeal much more difficult to navigate. Weed laws are messy, almost as messy as your ganja-saturated dreadlocks. Soap, seriously, go find some filth. But here's what we know. Marijuana is a mind-altering substance. So when you drive while high, you're endangering the lives of everyone else on the road. Again, a major duh for those of us who prefer to keep our mental facilities semi-sharp. Our inability to monitor you stoners leaves the majority of responsibility up to the smokers.
no, pot's not comparable to alcohol. There are tests that determine how much alcohol
Right.
content is in your bloodstream. We can't yet do that with weed, so it's impossible
This
to
is
handle these
great.
incidents in the same way.
That's
but
pretty
there
fair.
but there have been tests where they showed people
But that
drunk,
would go back to what he said and what
but
you
there
said.
have been tests where they've shown people drunk versus on marijuana, and the people on marijuana drove far better.
Okay.
You know what actually happened in those tests? The people on weed drove really, really slow. So when they had to do all those maneuvers where you go around cones and stuff, what they observed was that marijuana and the people who were stoned drove much, much slower than the people who were intoxicated on alcohol, who drove much, much quicker and more reckless. And I'm not endorsing driving high. I do not think you should do it, all right? This is not an endorsement of driving high. But it's really funny that's what the results of that test showed.
That's true.
So this is also
Right?
anecdotal.
No,
but
these are
It goes back
tests.
to your point, right?
these are tests.
Let's say someone has alcohol
Are
in their
these
system.
tests?
Well, I haven't read your test.
Okay, so
But
why are you arguing against them?
No, I'm saying I agreed with your point earlier.
So why are you saying they're
No,
anecdotal?
well, it is anecdotal if you're saying some people drive better on marijuana
No,
than
I'm
alcohol.
not saying that. I've said there have been tests.
Yeah, no, he was very emphatic about it. Crowder sucks so much at debating when it's not someone on a college campus with a giant binder that he's got all these factoids to be able to drop at a notice moments, and also with people who have no experience in media who aren't going to push back ever.
tests where they've
And
shown
he's got such thin skin. Immediately he's like, no, see, what you do here is you bring someone on and then you're going to bring up all these things. You're going to pretend as if this wasn't queued up. You clearly queued this up. And he's like, no, we're just reading your article. Your article's funny because it's really bad.
that people drive better on marijuana
Anyway.
than alcohol. That's
If you
not
want, if you want-
anecdotal.
my point is, if you
no,
want to
you're
smoke
looking.
weed, go ahead.
You're looking to be really good at this argument
No,
here.
no, I'm
You
not.
need to settle down.
You said you wouldn't pile on, and you got two people.
I'm not piling down. He's not
it is.
talking.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
He's
it
not
is.
talking. He
Actually,
brought
I have a
something
rule
up.
when someone.
Pull up that story. Oh, whoa, I didn't know this was a 2-on-1. Story's on the computer now. Well, what is he going to shut up or what? What's going on here?
Comes
Brought
on the
up
show,
facts.
when someone comes on the show, Jared cannot interject.
Congratulations, you're not
Cannot
on the show.
interject.
And all he did was pull up
No,
some
no,
fucking
two
information.
people bringing up information, me without a laptop.
Oh,
No, he brought it
After
up.
I said,
talked
no, I'm not
about
gonna
it.
stop
He didn't even
After I
talk
said-
about it.
You said, what would be the one thing that you've changed your mind on that
Is
you
there
would
a
look
problem
back?
when two people are correct and you're incorrect? Does that bother you?
I don't agree that you're correct.
What are you talking about? You just pulled up some statistics that show that Colorado has less.
Why are you not like this with any of your other guests? Holy fuck, Joe. Oh, you could have been such a legend. You could have been such a legend. Fuck. This sucks. What a waste. What an absolute waste. When you've got the UFC bro ref style stuff just coming at you, right? What are you talking about? I'm not going to accept this. In my ring? You're in the fucking Terror Dome now, Crowder.
Traffic fatalities.
No, I didn't.
Since
I didn't pull up
2000
any statistics.
No, he did.
You had- well, you
saw
just said
them.
you. You just
okay,
said
well,
you.
I will
So
give
no,
you
that's
my
not
laptop.
correct.
I'll turn my laptop
That's
your
not
way,
correct.
and you can pull up some shit that shows contrary
you said, what is
evidence.
the issue that you would care about the least, that you've changed your mind? And I said, probably wouldn't even talk about pot.
That's a long version of what you said.
And
what
then
you
you
said,
said, well, why?
was there have been more fatalities since marijuana has been legal in those
In
states.
all the things we've discussed.
It's not true.
Why are you so obsessed with the pot issue?
Because you're not right, and it doesn't matter.
Because I like weed, man. Goddamn, weed's good times. Hey, come on. What's going on here?
Smoke weed every day. Smoke weed every day.
If we've talked about it for 4
So
hours. In this instance,
yeah.
you are incorrect. You know you're incorrect.
No, I'm not incorrect in that instance that traffic fatalities have increased in areas where pot have increased. We did the same study in Michigan where pot was legalized and people were actually
Wait a minute.
selling more marijuana to underage kids.
Yeah,
I don't
pull it
care
up.
if
Okay, that
they
doesn't
do it.
have anything.
No, call him out. Pull it up. Yes. See, that is exactly what you should do with Steven Crowder. When he's just talking out of his ass, he's like, oh, no, but we have tons of studies that show blank, and it's clearly proven. I mean, I've got... Same thing with Alex Jones. Joe Rogan never did this once with Alex Jones. Just sits back while he's like, oh, Crimea, human hybrid pig animals or homosexuals coming to Frogland or stuff. And it's like, nothing. Doesn't correct him once. But then now, oh, what a waste, Joe Rogan. What a waste.
Anything to do with traffic
does
fatalities.
have to do with it.
It doesn't have anything to do with traffic fatalities unless you can prove there's more traffic fatalities in underage kids since marijuana has been legal.
Damn.
There have been several articles that have made that claim, made that assertion.
Let's find
We've
them.
written about it.
Let's find them.
They all come from one article.
Yes. Yes. See, because they don't exist. Oh, man.
Mostly, and it's from these AAA stats, and this is the stats that they said. And it's almost all the articles you're talking about come from this one article.
Okay.
Okay, so it says the percentage of drivers involved in fatal crashes who recently used marijuana more than doubled from 8 to 17% from 2014 or 2013 to 2014.
Yeah.
1 in 6 drivers involved in fatal crashes from 2014 had recently used marijuana, which is the most recent data available. Now, do you
The
understand that
significant increase in
causation
fatal
does not
crashes
equal
involving marijuana
correlation?
is alarming.
Yes, says who?
It says alarming. It's alarming. You get that, right? I don't want to talk about the numbers. I don't want to talk about causation, like correlation. No, it's alarming. The words are there in the article. You see it. It's on the screen right now.
Opinion.
It's an opinion.
President and CEO of AAA Foundation.
Yeah,
for
he says
Traffic
it's
Safety.
alarming. Well, is that a matter of more people smoking marijuana because it's legal, or is it a matter of the marijuana causing these accidents?
Is this
Do you know
not an
what
article
else,
put out by
Do you know what
AAA?
else is true? Do you know what else is true? That all these people also had alcohol in their system. Do you know that?
Well, no, I don't. We don't know that all of
It's
them had alcohol in
a
their system.
giant percentage
Well,
of people
hold
that
on
were
a second. You
involved
just
in
made
these
an assumption.
accidents.
Said you know this
no,
to
I
be
know
true.
this because I've read
all
these
of them
studies.
had alcohol in their system.
I
Can
didn't
you
say
prove
that.
You
I
just
said
all.
a lot of them.
Rewind the tape. You
Maybe
said
I
all.
did say all. A lot of them.
Well, you made a lot of
Shitload.
assumptions.
Let's
here.
find out.
It doesn't say anything in the article about alcohol, though, and for sure they should have tested that and put that
They should,
information
and
in
for
there.
sure they can't test
Well,
for.
but
By the way,
just
I'm talking with
Google
two guys
how
who
many
just
people-
smoked up a joint.
Just Google.
and
What?
are mad
What does that
I
have
made
to do with
It
anything?
makes a point that you're going to have an obvious position that would disagree with this one single article. So if I can finish a point, you've talked about interruption. Let me finish the one point that I'm making.
Well, you've
you
already
can't
been
test
proven.
for marijuana.
You've already been
You can't
proven.
test for marijuana roadside, right? Can we agree on
No,
that?
you absolutely can.
You
yeah,
can?
there's new tests. Yes,
Okay, there's new tests.
that are
How
available
recent are
right
these
now.
tests?
Let's find
2014.
out. Let's
Yeah.
find out. Before you do
But
that,
they
though,
didn't test, like you said.
How many of the marijuana-related fatalities also involved alcohol? Because it's a massively significant percentage.
Yeah.
So you can't necessarily say that just because they have these new tests for marijuana, especially roadside marijuana.
That's the problem. Is you can't. Okay, I'll tell you what. I'll give you that.
What are you giving me?
Let's say you're correct.
But here's the thing.
So
it
let's say you're
doesn't-
correct.
He's so upset. Fuck. It was always weed. Weed was the key to all of this. Joe Rogan, he could have been such a better person. Imagine if every single time one of the bigots went on his show, one of the just absolute chud lords, if he had just opened with, weed is bad. If everyone had said weed is bad, it would have been a different timeline.
Physiologically, it doesn't have an effect on motor skills the way alcohol does, where it doesn't slow down your response time.
Well, I know
It's
that
not the same.
we've had several doctors on the show, 2 of whom had differing opinions on that.
They don't have to be right.
They don't have to be right.
opinions of it. Do they
have
smoke
opinions.
marijuana themselves? Do they know what it's like?
Now
Have
we're
they
getting- now
studied?
we're getting to this
Have
hold
they
up, you haven't
studied
smoked
all the
marijuana.
different? CBS News caught blatantly distorting cannabis study says
This
legal
comes
pot
from-
doubles fatal
This
car
comes
crashes.
from Mint Press News. So again, we can go into questioning
hominem.
sources all day long if you have someone else bringing up
You don't
sources.
think this is a good source?
Whenever conservatives are backed into a corner, that's when the same thing always happens. Like, you know what? We can just spar with different sources. You know, you've got your sources. I've got my sources. You have information. I have information. Your side is going to believe your sources are credible. The other side is going to believe the other sources are credible. But at the end of the day, how can either of us know what is true? Right? That's always going to be the final move, the final goalpost.
Do you think
Maybe
they're
it
lying?
is. Maybe it is. Let's
Not
say
a
you're
lot of it
right.
with Crowder, but
Let's say you're right. Well, a lot of Crowder, we sourced that to something else.
I know. And
You guys
I
are
looked up
so
your
defensive
sources.
on one issue, and you said,
Hold on.
what's the issue you don't care
I
about?
have your
Pot.
sources right here. I've looked them up. There's people online also sourcing them. They are skewed. You're skewing them to make
And
your
so the
case.
Washington
So passionate about the weed, and then is going to flip around and be like, ivermectin. Have y'all heard about ivermectin? It cures what COVID's you know?
Washington Post study that you skewed.
But you're not the Washington Post. You're supposed to be the answer to the Washington Post.
I'm not the answer to the Washington Post.
Don't
We're
say that
op-ed.
someone's evil.
Yo, Joe. Oh, God. Wow. Triple KO. Holy shit. Steven Crowder is not the alternative to news, okay? It's an online disaster and should be treated as such. That's the only title you should give him.
So I'm evil too.
Well, you just said that.
Is that what you're saying?
That's the argument that you just made.
No, I didn't make
You
that
did
argument.
make that
You
argument.
just said, come on,
You
man.
just made that argument, and all of a sudden, when someone mentions pot,
got
you
heated.
put on
When
the
you're
ideologue
saying
hat
this-
where your worldview
What
is
is
through the
that?
lens of weed.
No, dude.
And you get upset
I'm
with anyone
calling
having
you
a
out
different
on
opinion.
bullshit. It has nothing to do with weed.
Yeah, but you haven't
I would
made an
call
argument.
I haven't made an argument. You said
You've
that
said
the
your studies are
fatalities
sourced.
increased. We showed you what
We
happened in
wrote about it.
Colorado.
What have you shown me?
We showed you the statistics that
Okay.
show that marijuana and traffic violations they
May
correlates
not be,
to less
may not be causal.
accidents.
Right? Your
May
argument
not
is
be
it may
caused.
not be caused.
Okay, so what else is causing
Okay.
the dropped number, and why can't
what's
you
causing the
show
increase in number?
What increase? This fake increase
From
that
fake,
you're bringing
we're doing
up?
fake news?
It's
Is
not
that what we're doing?
real. It's not real. Colorado
So-
shows it's not real.
That's
So
not-
where is it real?
Well, this comes from his AAA study that was AAA and Trusted Safety
AAA
Council.
study.
AAA is owned by the Bilderberg Group,
Oh,
bro.
God.
You don't even know this.
So now we're going to go to weed cures cancer and people having meetings with ram's heads.
You've got one article that says one thing, and one
Joe.
article from Colorado that says there's been.
Not letting him go. Wow. I mean, if only Joe had this kind of ferocity when it came to anything else besides marijuana, right? Like, Ben Shapiro was on there and it said weed bad. Maybe he finally would have been pushing back against some of those horrifying transphobic comments he made. But, yeah, this is just the world we're in.
Been a decrease in traffic fatalities.
Right.
You're not willing to recognize that.
I just said, let's give that to you. Because this entire conversation started with you saying, what issue would you change your mind on?
No,
and I
it
said,
started,
probably pot. Because here's
no,
what I
this
think.
argument started with you saying that it causes more fatalities and traffic violations.
That's not true. That's not true. You said, which issue do you not care about?
Didn't
I
you
said
say that?
pot.
Didn't
And then
you
you
say
said
it
why.
causes more
You
traffic
said why.
fatalities?
I'm really
What's your
stoned right
opinion
now.
on pot?
Come on. I
And
can't be held
I really
accountable
don't
for
care
that.
if people want to smoke pot. I think it's a state issue. I honestly don't care. I've changed my mind where as a kid I thought it was harmful. I don't think it's harmful
But
anymore.
didn't you say that it caused?
Say the thing, Bart. Say it. Change my mind. Yay.
then you
more
said,
traffic fatalities?
Then you said, well, let's expand on this. What issue do you have with pot? I said, I don't like the dishonesty where people just say it cures cancer, it'll end the war on drugs, it's completely harmless, and I have some arguments
It's
that
not
it's not
harmless?
entirely. No, it's not entirely harmless.
Well, it's
not
not-
without consequences.
Well, consequences
and
based
I've
on
given
what?
you so much leeway there on
But
that one.
how have you? How have you?
It
Consequences
literally
based on
started
what?
from me saying I probably couldn't care less about this out of all the other issues that we discuss. And you lasered in on that and go, where do we disagree
Because
on
it's
this?
a
you're
huge
looking for an
blind spot.
argument.
No, because it's a huge blind spot.
No, it's not a huge blind spot.
It's definitely.
Do you think
a
I'm working for the
huge
Bilderbergs
blind
out there
I don't
trying
have
to ban
think
pot?
that. If you say that marijuana is in some way or another a dangerous thing,
Yes.
I can tell you that it's
No,
not.
no. I didn't say a dangerous thing. I said
Well,
it's not
if
without
it's
consequences.
Causing, what are the consequences?
Okay, what do you believe marijuana does, for example? Well, no, I'm not going to get baited into this because you're trying to force me to say that I don't think pot cures cancer and there's a big farm. No, listen, smoke pot.
No,
But
that's
I,
not.
I will ask this.
I'm trying to say, what are the
I'll ask
consequences
this.
of it?
You come on my show. I would love to and have a discussion about it in real time. I think.
I don't think I've ever seen Joe this mad at a guest for this much of a prolonged amount of time. And he's probably really stoned, too. On top of everything else, he's probably really high, but still, this is like the kind of angry stoner you don't often see.
Think
Why
so.
would
Well,
I
last
do it?
time I was on the show,
You're
you
in
said
front
you
of
do
me
the show.
right now. You're in front of me right now. Why do I have
Because
to
we're
come
not
on
having a
your
conversation, you and I, right now.
We would definitely
You're
have
having
a
somebody else
conversation
bring
for
up sources.
hours. Oh, that's not good to read
It's not
sources?
fair. It's not
Tell me-
fair to have two people.
What's
But I love how he didn't let him walk away with that. Where it's just like, well, you know what? You can come on my show someday. Like the casual, hey, by the way, you know, we're both public figures. This is just going to be that little tee off. Hope you recognize the signal. Let's just stop this conversation. I don't enjoy what's going on right now. Even though we're live and recording, I can't really walk away. So, hey, how would you come on my show? We'll just that. He's like, fuck you. We're here now, bro. We're going to talk about this. I want to learn more about the weed.
fair?
Just like before, you said,
no
you
data?
think if Amy, you
Should
think
we
if
be
Amy,
in a room with no
you think
internet?
you think if Amy and I ganged up on you, think you would have done well in that argument? Come on, man.
Because I want to find out how you feel, how you think. I
yeah.
want to see if you get
But
defensive.
for some reason, you said you think if her and I were together, you think you would have done well on that.
Yeah, because I want to see if you get defensive.
But
Do you
Why
ever
wouldn't
fuck with
someone
somebody in a conversation?
Why wouldn't you
ever
get
fuck with
defensive?
somebody? You do that, right?
No, but you've made it all about the pot issue.
No, that had nothing to do with pod. The Amy Schumer
No, I'm
thing
talking
had
about this.
nothing to do with
You've
pod.
gotten into this pot issue because of
The
an issue
Amy
where you think
Schumer
there's
thing
an
is what you
argument,
just brought up.
and it's the one area that you're super informed and interested in.
Adorable. You're adorable.
And that's
you're
the same thing
you're
as saying
so used to
you're not
doing
a real
this.
comedian.
No, you're adorable.
You've
you're
never
so used to
debated
doing
someone
this.
on an open.
Whoa. The barb's being thrown. Holy moly.
Territory without someone else to back up your argument. It's never happened. I've
This
looked
is
for
not
it.
a backup when someone pulls up information.
Don't-
Let me tell you
Joe,
something.
Joe,
One
Joe,
thing that
I
Jamie
really
does
like-
is he pulls up evidence to the contrary. If I was wrong, he would stick it right in my face and we would laugh about it. And that's what he does.
Yeah, but I don't
That's
have
why
someone
he
to pull
pulled
up
up the
evidence to the
AAA
contrary,
thing.
and I've given it to you.
Like, whether or not you find Joe Rogan's stand-up funny, it's not my cup of tea, but hey, I'm not the comedy police. If you like it, enjoy, inshallah. Hope you go out and you enjoy the stand-ups. There's no question between these two individuals who has more credibility as a stand-up comedian, who has put like more time, more blood, more sweat, more bombs, whatever you want to call it, into the craft than Steven Crowder.
what
I've given it to you.
evidence? You haven't given me shit.
I've given you the argument.
What
and
argument?
You're continuing. I'm saying, fine. Let's say there's no causation. Let's say that wasn't backed up well enough. Let's give you that argument.
Okay. What's this, Jamie?
And
There's
we're back
also
to
some
it, and we're
evidence
back
that
to
medical
it,
marijuana
and we're back
laws
to it.
make
And we're back to evidence disproving everything I say out loud. Why are we doing? I don't enjoy war. Daddy, where are you? Where are you? Papa, it's happening again.
contribute to decreasing
You're
traffic
obsessed.
fatalities.
This is what part of the
Hold,
show
please.
is me doing this, though. If we don't do that,
This is
isn't
what we
the
always
show.
do. It's just talking about facts. Listen to
You're
this.
obsessed.
Hold, please. There are some.
You're obsessed with facts. Fuck.
There are also some evidence that medical. That doesn't make any sense. There are also some evidence. That's not that. There's also.
There, that's what I said.
Okay, I'm wrong. That medical marijuana laws may contribute to decreasing traffic fatalities. One study published in the Journal of Law and Economics in 2013 reviewed traffic fatalities in the 19 states that had passed medical marijuana laws by 2010 and found that
Curious.
legalization is associated with an 8 to 11% decrease in traffic fatalities for the year after the laws took effect. The researchers from the University of Colorado, Denver, and elsewhere also found the decrease is more significant for alcohol-related fatalities at 13.2%.
Can I ask a question?
Pretty interesting.
Can I ask a question?
Please do.
Why is that study from 2010 considered completely valid to you, and the study from AAA in 2014 considered completely invalid?
AAA's got a fucking biased interest.
There you go.
Because
there you go.
They're
Chemtrails
a
and
big
bias.
ass company.
People can have different
It's in
opinions.
Oh, Joe, there's a huge like blind spot on your side if that's what you're gonna resort to.
charge. Well, what are they basing it on?
What, so your argument is
This is
the only valid study because AAA is biased.
But this is a study.
It's
Why
a study.
are you ignoring? Do you think that's right, or do you think
I
they're
think
lying?
it could be right. I think it could be right.
So if they're right, if that study's right, then you were wrong, right?
If that study's right,
Then
and
you
it would
were wrong, right?
I could be wrong.
You were wrong, right? When you were
could
just
be wrong.
spouting it out. So we proved that in Colorado you were wrong.
You didn't
and
prove.
if that study
You
is
didn't
true,
prove.
well,
You didn't prove. You said if that's here's what you do. If
Let's
that study,
pull that
no,
up
hold on a
again,
second,
figure
Joe.
out what
Hold on a
caused
second,
the
Joe. And then you
Colorado
say interruption.
study.
I asked one question, and then you get a paragraph.
you like
You
doing
said
this,
that
don't
study,
you?
Joe?
You
I
like
literally
doing
said
this.
I'll give
You
it to
do.
you. You win the argument.
I guess this is what happens when you've got just like, you know, the libertarian, because I've said it before, Joe Rogan's basically just like a mirror to most of his guests unless they dramatically disagree with weed, apparently. Weed is the breaking point. But if you've got that against Steven Crowder, aka the rest of the conservatives, who so much of what they talk about on a daily basis isn't based in fact, they're just spouting talking points that they're supposed to regurgitate, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, well, let's just look at what you're saying right now and see if it's true. Like, Steven Crowder doesn't know how to deal with this. That's why it's like, this is what you do. You're a failed comedian. You brought me on here for a hit piece, and now you're just getting them to look up all the facts. 3-on-1.
And you bring up another thing about pot.
Well, it's because
'Cause
you
you can't
don't
let it
really
go.
you don't really give up. You reluctantly give
I
up.
said I'll give it to you. You're right. Let's assume I'm
Okay,
wrong.
you're definitely wrong.
Let's assume I'm wrong.
Okay, so what else would be the problem with marijuana if it wasn't traffic
I don't
fatalities?
even, I don't
Zero,
even care.
right?
No, not
Right?
zero.
What's zero?
But I don't want to spend the
Okay,
entire
well,
day
what are the
talking
other
about
problems?
pot.
Well,
Why are we
come
still
on,
talking
man. We're
about
talking
this,
about real
Papa?
issues. What would be the other problems if it wasn't for
Here's the
traffic
funny thing.
fatalities?
Before you go, oh man, just loosen up. Let's talk about life and jujitsu. Then you get on one
I
thing.
didn't say
you are
jiu-jitsu.
obsessed.
I said let's talk.
You're obsessed.
I just want to get you away from your left versus right talking points because I'm neither.
Because people with convictions, the left-right paradigm.
Bertrand
the
Russell will
left-right
come out.
paradigm.
I'll
I'm a
take
centrist.
I kind of am.
Joe, here's the thing, and I started off and I still mean the complimentary things I said, but you can't bring people on and call them pussy and dumb
Come
fuck
on, bro. We're
and
joking around.
bias,
I can't.
and then continue going back to an issue.
Wow, that sounds kind of like censorship. You know, what is this cancel culture going on here, Steven? Telling Joe what he can do in his own sound studio?
And with someone who agrees with you entirely, and act as though, well, now you're defensive? Well, of course I'm defensive.
Well, I think that you were spewing a little bit of anti-marijuana propaganda about traffic fatalities, and I had to address it.
Anti-marijuana propaganda. That's right. I'm paid by
honestly,
Big Pharma.
No,
lobby,
I'm not
man.
thinking you're paid by anybody, but I just think you had a point of view.
So why would I push the propaganda? Propaganda, by definition, means I have to be pushing it for someone.
It's not necessarily that someone is telling you to do it. It's just that you had a point of view.
Then it's not propaganda.
That you had dug your heels in.
Then it's not propaganda.
It is
it's
propaganda.
A wrong opinion.
I don't know if this is the last appearance. He definitely had, he was on, I think, 2 or 3 times, but then there was a time after that last appearance when he just didn't appear anymore for whatever reason. I don't know if this was the last appearance. I don't know right now. It's just off to the side, his dad standing there, visibly sweating, and then just when the fuck is this ever going to end?
It's propaganda.
It's a wrong
if
opinion,
you have
Joe.
read it and you are spouting it out, but that statistics prove differently.
Well,
Steven's not into breaking balls. Steven is one of those people who can dish it out but can't take it. It is totally fine, spending all day or fucking his whole career is just being a professional bully, doing that all the time, vilifying marginalized communities, constantly punching down, and then the second someone speaks up to him, it's just whoa, what's going on here?
You're promoting propaganda someone's asking. Okay, pull that up then,
Weed
Jamie.
cures cancer.
Find out whether. Not saying cures. Doesn't
That
marijuana have
was my
beneficial
claim,
effects?
No. That wasn't my claim. Weed
Nothing
cures cancer.
Nothing
There
cures
you go.
cancer.
And that was what I was talking about.
But
I
who
literally
the fuck
will get
says nothing cures anything? I mean, things treat
half of your
things.
listeners will tweet me saying,
Is there a
weed
single
cures
drug
cancer.
that cures anything? Things treat things.
Sure.
Your immune system
Sure there
kicks
is.
in.
There are
If your
plenty of
immune
drugs that
system
cure.
fails,
Plenty of drugs that cure.
okay, what drug
Polio.
cures things?
Polio vaccine. Done.
Okay, polio vaccine doesn't
Prevents.
cure things, you fuck. It prevents you from getting polio.
The disease is
Do
effectively
you
cured.
understand what you just said?
Yeah.
You just
He's so mad. I don't get how you can be so stoned and so angry. This is wild.
Disease is
prove
effectively
yourself.
cured. No, I didn't just
No,
just
the
prove myself.
disease is not effectively cured in the person who has polio. We're talking about marijuana curing cancer on people that don't have cancer yet. That's not what it's not a vaccine for cancer.
Okay.
What you're saying is marijuana cures cancer with people that have cancer. There's not a fucking drug. You proved yourself. There's
I
not
agree
a
with you.
medicine that proves
Right.
that you can't.
And most likely what they're referencing is the fact that if you happen to have various forms of cancer, it can sometimes make it very difficult for you to eat, in which case medical marijuana can be very beneficial in restoring people's appetites and can sometimes, in some cases, prolong their ability to go through horrific treatments like chemotherapy. That's the answer. It's not marijuana cures cancer. It's that marijuana could be an effective treatment at solving a variety of problems that come as a result of having cancer.
Can't fucking cure polio with a medicine.
You get so aggressive on
No,
the
you're
pod
wrong.
issue.
No,
get
you're
so
wrong right
aggressive on the
here
pod
about
issue.
polio.
No,
Do you
I'm not
understand
wrong. No,
how
you said, okay, use it as an
blindsided
example
you are?
right now.
You have a blind spot.
I'm pretty
Yes.
sure there's drugs out there that cure some diseases.
I'm sure there are. I never heard of them.
Well, they
Do you
exist.
know who they are? Name one.
Is he blowing it in his face? Wow. UFC power moves coming out.
Not offhand if I had someone who could bring it up.
No, you don't have to bring it up, man. You're going to argue for it. Shouldn't you
I didn't
know?
argue for it.
I don't think
You
there
said
are
you don't
drugs
think there are any
necessarily
drugs that cure
things.
anyone, and I said I think that's incorrect.
Your immune system has to be in place. If you're like dying and someone gives you some sort of a drug, how many drugs are there that cure a nasty disease that's killing you? And how many of them have to be also compensated? Your immune system has to kick in as well. There's a bunch of factors. It's not like how many. I mean, there's penicillin that kills some like venereal diseases and all sorts of different fucking horrible infections.
Yeah.
But there's not a
do.
lot but it takes your immune system has to be in effect too. There's a lot of factors.
So now we're getting to the definition of cure. And
well,
saying it doesn't cure.
man, because you're talking about fucking polio. Nothing cures polio, bitch. And marijuana. No one's saying marijuana
I get
cures
those. No, I get those
cancer.
all the time. All the
Those
time.
These are assholes. Those are the
Yeah, but
same
those are
people
people
that
who
say
make
you're a
those
Nazi.
arguments.
Those are the same people that say you're a Nazi.
No, it's pretty common. It's pretty
You
common.
fucking Nazi, punch Nazis.
Well, for example, we had a
Same
woman on the
people.
show. We had a woman on the show, a psychiatrist, who basically said, people who are adult, healthy, smoke pot, she said, probably not a problem. She said it is a problem for the developing brain, people who are under the age of 25. And she explained as to why.
Probably correct.
Yeah, and she explained as to why.
I don't think they think that the human brain is even fully developed. Your frontal
No, it's
cortex.
not. And she talked about specifically also people who might have mental illnesses, whether it's schizophrenia or bipolar. Most people don't realize that, or depression. It goes unrecognized. And she talked about how for those people, marijuana can act as a trigger mechanism. So she said, healthy people, none of these.
So what I hear you saying is we need better treatment for mental illness, and that you support Medicare for all. That's what I'm hearing.
These conditions, marijuana is probably relatively benign. But for some of these people, and most people who might have these conditions are afflicted by them, it could be a real problem.
She's got some very good points, but do you
And
know
half
that
the
they've
comments
actually...
are, weed cures cancer, this dumb bitch should get off the show.
Oh, look at this. Cannabis has been shown to kill cancer cells in laboratory tests. See question 6.
Yeah, that doesn't cure cancer, though.
Well, kill cancer cells. No one's saying cure cancer.
Yes, plenty of
Beneficial
people
effects
are.
on
I'm
cancer.
telling you exactly what people say.
But you compared it to turmeric, you compared it to all
Sure.
these things. But look, the point being, I think you agree and I agree that as long as it doesn't hurt other people any more than anything else, like sugar hurts other people. Look, if you want to make an argument for high insurance rates and you want to look at the overall causes of disease in this country and why insurance and health insurance cost so much, you would almost immediately go towards simple sugar. Like simple sugar is a huge problem with people who are obese. Obesity is a huge issue in this country, and it's a major factor when it comes to healthcare costs, right?
I think it's adorable that you're telling me how to craft arguments. And
But
I know
don't
that
you
you do
think-
this, Joe.
I'm not saying that.
But
Don't
I
you
think it's
think
adorable.
It's
And I
it's
think-
an easier argument to say that ice
and I
cream should
think-
be illegal
and I
than it is
think-
that marijuana should be illegal.
No, I don't. And
Why
I think,
that? Tell me why.
No, I'm gonna say what I was about to say.
Okay, please do.
Beforehand, because you keep redirecting the conversation, and and for some reason you're turning it into something hostile that it really doesn't need
It's
to
not
be.
hostile.
It is. It
Might
is.
be to you.
Yeah, it
I
is.
feel weird about it. I feel great.
It is. It is when someone comes
Smoking
into
a
something
pipe.
where they know they disagree, and two other people with the same opinion are gonna do a team up.
He doesn't even...
It's just funny when Joe is being such a bro, like just broing out hardcore, but seeing it directed against Steven Crowder is kind of glorious, you know? I mean, if he's going to bro out anywhere, might as well bro out onto Steven Crowder. Then that's perfect, right? Oh, I'm having a great fucking time. I got my pipe, got my whiskey. Fuck you.
even have an opinion.
I think that
Look at this.
what you're doing right now, Joe, is like you talk about with people in jiu-jitsu. This is what I think.
There are now 100 scientific
I think
studies
that
that say that
I think that you think
prove
these arguments work.
cannabis cures cancer.
I think that you think these arguments work, and I think it's like someone going to jiu-jitsu for the first time. You've never done it. I don't think you've ever actually gotten to a place without someone who can bring up sources for you. I don't think you've gotten into an argument.
Oh, he's so mad. It's so great. He's so upset with what just happened.
Or done anything with a debate team where people would actually hold you accountable to the arguments that you make. I think
Wait,
you
why are you
redirect.
saying you don't think that I have if you don't know what conversations I've had?
I've never seen it.
So what, have you
Someone
been
invited-
with me
no, I'm inviting
24/7
you to do
for
it.
49
But my
years?
point is this. I think you
These
would
are
be very
ridiculous
surprised.
conversations.
Right now, you're the kung fu guy hitting the kung fu doll with the spikes.
It's
And you've
adorable.
convinced
Oh, cry bully, cry bully. Okay, Crowder, you do so much worse for a living. All right, he's calling you out on his shit. He's being super bro about it. Fair dues, that's a call out. But at the end of the day, you go into fucking people's places of work and you'll be like, oh, I heard you're a they, them. Look, I'm here to ridicule you. Isn't this hilarious? Yeah, for the lulz. Like, fuck you.
Convince yourself that this
You're
is an
adorable.
argument that would work if you had other people more qualified than myself to discuss it, and you decided to zone in on an argument
This is a
that you knew you would
cute
disagree
way
with.
of you diffusing all
No.
these stats that Jamie keeps bringing up. There's more than 100 studies that
Exactly.
proves that cannabis cures cancer.
Exactly.
Do you deny
Where's
those
my
studies? You don't need a Jamie.
Where's my Jamie?
Jamie's pulling shit off the internet. He's not
You
writing
asked me
it, man.
specifically
I gotta
about
watch
something
the
where I
Adam
changed my
Connor movie
mind.
still.
Okay.
So you clearly were ready or upset about the pot thing.
I wasn't
and I
ready.
said,
I didn't even
yeah,
think
I
we were
probably
gonna
wouldn't
talk
talk
about
about that anymore because I don't really care about it, and I think states should be able to legalize it.
Well, if you don't care about it, you seem fucking
Because
really
you asked me
touchy.
3 follow-up questions. It'd be like me asking you why you endorsed Bernie Sanders on this
No,
show
man.
tacitly, saying you would
You were
vote for him.
talking about
When in the green
traffic
room with the billiard stuff, you
fatalities.
said, man, he's insane with the socialist stuff. I don't think it's very genuine what you're doing.
What
I
can-
think this is...
Whoa, behind the scenes lore. Oh man, didn't know that. He's just spilling the beans right now. He's that mad. He's kind of doing the Milo Yiannopoulos thing where Milo has been on Telegram or Telegraph, whatever it's called, and then has just been spouting the worst things about other conservatives. Bet you didn't know about this. Here's some leaked tapes of Richard Spencer. Here's this. Here's that. Yeah, fuck them all.
something that
this
appeals
is
to your audience.
Silly. No, it's not. You started on with traffic fatalities, and I
No,
thought
I
you were
didn't start
wrong.
on. I
Yes,
didn't start on
you
with
did.
traffic fatalities. You said,
It's
what
one of the
issue
things
would you
said.
drop and not talk about? And this is exactly why.
Right, but
because
when we
these
talked
are the
about
conversations that always
marijuana,
occur.
that was one of the things that you
These
said
are the
was traffic
conversations that always
fatalities,
occur.
wasn't it?
And there's no
Was it?
productive conversation that comes from it.
Oh, sure there is.
No.
For people who are listening to this is extremely productive because
Okay.
they understand how someone with blinders can ignore the evidence
Sure.
and figure out some way where they're being wronged intellectually.
Like someone like Blinders.
Someone will say that, oh, you should be in some sort of a debate. You've never been in a debate. You don't know what fucking debates I've been in. You know what conversations I've been in with people.
They're all televised, right, Joe?
You don't know. You don't know what conversations I've had.
Man. I'm calling you on your bullshit. Then do it when people can see.
That I've had? You're saying I've never had a conversation with someone
other people who agree with you, and you bully people.
Steven Crowder,
and you bully people.
I'm not bullying people. We're having fun.
Actual definition of cry bully, right there. 100% doing cry bullying. And you're bullying me. Why are you bullying me? What's going on, Papa? Papa, help!
Why is this bullying?
It's
Why
bullying
is this
because
bullying?
there are two people
Calling you out on your shit is not bullying. Now, fair enough, Joe Rogan's being real aggressive. He's going real bro with it, you know? And I'm sure he's going to start calling him more names as time goes on. But, like, you're just being called out on your lies. And you're like, oh, bullies.
who hold one opinion, ask me on something that I don't care about, follow up 3-4 questions to go into an area where you two are very specifically passionate. And I said, I don't want to talk about it.
You don't want to talk about it because you're wrong.
No, I don't want to talk because I don't care.
Because he keeps showing you
wrong. If states want to legalize it, that's fine. But it is a valid issue when people of Colorado are looking at this now, and there are people in Colorado who might vote differently on the marijuana issue because of how it's perceived or because of the information at hand. And I believe that people in Colorado should be able to vote. They voted for pot. But if they want to vote the other way, in states, they have the right to do that.
Who's arguing against that?
Well, that was my point when we were talking about marijuana. My point was, when I worked at Fox, we were thrust onto panels where you had to talk about this because it was going on in Colorado.
I can't believe you called me a bully. That's such a left-wing tactic.
You are.
How dare you?
You are.
How dare you? How dare is it? How's it a bully?
You are.
What,
you do
facts?
That.
Facts
No,
bully
that's
you?
not facts. You use
How is it a
all of
bullying?
this, use these absolutes and call someone on it and then say, well, no, hold
What
on, I'm just
absolutes
joking.
did I
I'm just
use?
joking.
What absolutes
You
did I
said,
use?
oh, okay, let me give you one that I can pull from my memory
Please
bank.
do.
All of them were on alcohol.
That did fuck that up.
Yeah, and you've done it several times.
But we did. We're supposed
But if
to
we
pull
want to
up
have a productive
statistics.
discussion,
Pull up
I
statistics.
wouldn't be doing that.
But I know there's a large
stuff.
number. There's a large number. This is Narcanon or one of those companies. One of those. There was one that was
shit,
unlikely
it's 5
source.
o'clock?
Yeah. Well, you don't tell me you have to leave now.
My flight.
Of course. That, by the way, wasn't him seeing the time. That was a text from his father being like, fucking get off the air right now. Right now. This has gone on long enough. Bad boy. Bad boy. Bad. Get out of there. Now. Spank you later.
Flight's at
Turn
6.
this around. Well, you're going to miss your flight no matter what now.
Oh, God. Fight
You're
like
fucked.
hell. Fight like hell. So true. You're totally gonna miss your flight. Your lie. Called him out on his cowardly lie. Oh my God, he's always been a coward his whole life.
Fine, dude.
No, I'm not going to be fine. I'm not going to make my flight back.
Yeah, you're going to be fine. You live in America. You could be in Ethiopia right now, huddling in a fucking hut,
Yeah.
trying to protect yourself from some rabid animal.
Yeah.
Don't be scared. You're going to be fine. You got
He's even taunting him. Don't be scared. You're gonna be fine, Stephen. I got you. I'm your daddy now. Daddy Joe. Daddy Joe's gonna take real good care of you.
a little defensive. I thought we were friends.
No, you didn't.
I thought you did. That's
thought
why I
we were
wanted
friends
to
too,
have
but
you
listen,
on
man,
here.
listen.
I thought we were going to have some fun.
We were having fun, and then toward the end of the conversation, you asked me what issue do you not care about. I don't really care about the pot issue, which I thought I cared about when I was 21. You said you wouldn't defend issues when you were 7 years ago, right? All of your cells have. When I was 21, I was probably a lot harsher on pot than I am today. I thought it was worse. I grew up around it. I had negative experiences. Then I realized that was anecdotal. I don't really care much anymore about it. I think states should be able to do what they want to do. Then 3, 4, 5 follow-up questions so we could get to a point into this debate where the show has now gone on 2-3 hours long and I've missed my flight.
Well, what you were trying to say was that people that are pro-marijuana ignore the negative consequences of marijuana, and I asked you what those were.
Right.
And you said traffic fatalities.
One of them.
And then we tried to find out if that's true, and we found out it's not.
You didn't find out that it's not true. You made an argument that it's not true, but we didn't definitively find out that it's not true.
A lot of statistics.
Well, it's very easy to do that when you ignore opposing statistics.
No, let's find the
and
opposing
make false
statistics.
claims about them.
Let's have
Joe,
Jamie
no,
find
Joe,
opposing
I don't have another
statistics.
hour. I've missed my flight. I don't have another hour to get into the pot issue.
You definitely have plenty of time, man. You're not going to get your flight. You got a lot of time. This is an interesting argument.
Right.
It's an interesting argument because it shows what happens when people not necessarily disagree, but getting into a position where one person wants to have the upper hand. And you keep jockeying back and forth. And we're trying to figure out who's going to wind up on the top of the heap.
No, There's no jacking back and forth.
Not at all?
You're the one jacking back and forth.
Oh, sweetie. You know that's
Don't
not
call me
true.
sweetie.
Come on,
That's a
honey.
bully thing.
Honey.
Come on, that's a bully thing.
If that's a bully thing,
That's a
then
bully
we have
thing.
a real
That's
problem
a
in
bully
this
thing.
country.
Pussy,
Come
dumb
on.
fuck,
that
honey.
might be dumb fuck, might be bullying.
Yeah.
Sweetie
which,
is not bullying.
Which you've done.
Come on, I did it as a joke because I thought we were friends.
No, you don't think we talk every now and then. I do.
I like
listen,
you.
I like
We're not friends. I told you. I told you.
you do, but I knew.
You don't think we're friends? You brought me a pipe. You gave me a pipe.
I did give you a pipe?
You've been on my podcast twice.
I know.
How dare
I'm
you?
I'm
Hurt my
guessing probably
feelings.
not invited
You're
back.
You're a goddamn bully. I'll invite you back. Are
Listen,
you serious?
Here's the truth.
Are you upset more than me?
Well,
Who's more upset
listen,
here?
when you say you're defensive, and you have somebody else to bring up sources, let's be
I'll
let's
look
be
up
real
anything
here.
you want me to.
No, I don't want you to look up anything you want me
Well.
to.
Jamie will be.
I don't want to see any evidence to the contrary. I don't need proof wrong. Okay. I just want to leave. I want to go get to my fake flight.
Let me tell you something. If Jamie found something that shows me I'm wrong, and he does
Hey.
all the time, he pulls it up.
Well, not gay Jared knows that he has a standing on our show. We do it differently, and that's why I invited you on the show. Last time
how do
said-
you do it differently?
We
What
did it
does it
differently.
have-
Okay, if
how's it
Christopher Titus
relevant?
comes on the show, if Sally Cohn comes on the show, if you come on the show, and you say, I want to talk about pot in the show. If you say that and you say, I disagree with you. I say, okay, not gay Jared, not a word, and you don't bring up any sources. This is going to be
Well,
a
there's a difference
conversation
between
of
you and
ideas.
me. I'd let him talk. I'd be like, you think I would ask
No, Jared
him.
talks all the time, but I don't think it's fair.
Why not? I would talk to him too. He's a human being.
I don't think 2-on-1 in an argument is fair.
It's not 2-on-1.
Yeah, it is.
You know, it's not. And if he disagrees with me and you disagree,
The other person's just pulling up the facts. He's just like, okay, here it is. There you go, Joe. Because that's what he does all the time. It's kind of his job.
me together, we can go back and forth all together. I don't care. I don't mind if there's 3 people. Get another friend that hates pot. Bring him in.
I don't hate pot.
Well, I mean, just
Again,
I'm
there
saying,
you go,
like,
right
find
there,
someone
right
who
there.
does.
What absolutes?
No,
There was
another
a total
friend, not
no,
you.
hold on a second. Before you
Another
said what
friend who
absolutes?
hates pot.
I said mischaracterizations and absolutes. There, I don't hate pot.
I'm not saying you do. I'm saying get a friend who hates pot. Bring
So
him
get
in as
another
well.
friend who hates pot.
Get
Joe.
another friend.
What
other
does
than
another
Jay
mean?
Garrett. Get another friend who
have
also
him look
hates
up
pot.
another. Have Jamie look up
another.
another.
I should have used the word also.
No, because the implication there is another, meaning you hate pot.
No, I don't
If I
think
said,
you hate
Joe,
pot.
get another person
I
who
don't think you
endorsed
hate
Bernie
pot.
Sanders and then had
I
an egg
think-
on his face.
I think
it would imply that you
losing
did.
arguments. I think you hate
I
losing
gave you the
arguments.
argument, and you continued for another hour, Joe.
You didn't really. You gave it to me with a caveat, and
Right.
that caveat is
Right.
that I'm a bully,
So-
and that Jamie pulls up statistics that only benefit my
you
ideas.
are on that argument. You are. You are. You are.
How is it a bully when 2 people are talking? How's it bullying?
It's not 2 people talking, though. You don't have a conversation with 2 people talking. You have a failsafe. You have other people who agree with you. You have an audience who agrees with you. I'm on your program.
I'm talking to
You're
my
the host.
audience, man. Just two people talking.
Let me be clear.
Okay.
I don't hate pot.
Okay.
I couldn't care less if you want to smoke pot, if states want to legalize pot.
Okay.
I couldn't care less about that. Now,
Okay.
pot is not a substance without consequence. That's all. And some of those consequences can be damage to the developing brain. When they're 25, we had a psychiatrist on talk about it, and people called her a dumb bitch who, weed cures cancer.
He cares.
There
so
have been
much.
statistics and reports on fatalities increasing regarding marijuana. You may not accept them, and maybe you're right on those sources. Maybe your sources are more valid than my sources. I'll grant you that. So my issue is when people are dishonest and only present one side of the issue. I just presented several sides, and on my show on a regular basis, said, listen, if you want to smoke pot, I couldn't care less. Go ahead and smoke pot. And I think that the people who have tried to make you think, reefer madness and wacky tobacco, I think that's overblown. But I also think there are some issues that people who simply want to justify it, sometimes a habit, which could be negative to some people, not all, overlook completely one side of the issue. And there is an entire side of the medical community who disagrees with you. And I don't know that I agree with them or disagree with them yet.
Wait a minute. The medical
So I
community?
don't take any
There is an
position
entire
whatsoever.
side to the medical community who would disagree
Oh,
with
nice.
your
Joe's
position.
getting
And I
representation.
don't know that you think marijuana is a benign substance.
I don't think it's benign to developing brains. We already discussed that.
Okay, a good example. Developing brains.
Well, I don't think
But
alcohol
I think
is
a
as
lot
well.
of I would agree. I think a lot of kids who listen to the show, and I know you're not responsible, it's like you
His source is a list of 100 good things about weed on a website called Higher Perspective Addictives.
should be 18
Of
years
course.
18 in Canada. You should be 16 years old to drive a car. You're not telling kids to go and smoke up. But I think a lot of people who are listening, you have many young listeners who are in that developmental stage, certainly under the age of 25, who only hear the positive virtues extolled of marijuana. Sometimes they're not entirely honest. Sometimes they're not entirely accurate, I should say. I don't think that's necessarily a good thing.
Necessarily accurate, how so? Like
well, for
what
example,
positive things
let me ask you
are
this.
not
Have you ever on
necessarily
your program
accurate?
talked about how harmful marijuana could be to the developing brain under 25?
Yeah, we have many times.
Have you? In a way
Yeah.
that you've conceded that's valid?
No, we've said I don't think you should do anything when you. I don't think like any 15-year-old should do anything to their brain because we don't know what the fuck happens to your brain when you give a kid alcohol. I did it. I'm sure you probably did it too. When was it? When did you drink first? How old were you?
Probably like 15. Well, first beer, probably.
I think I
really
was
young, but
14
15,
the first time I got drunk with my friends. I mean, it's terrible. It's not good for you. It's not smart. It's definitely not smart. And I know, and you know, and I'm sure we all know someone who did get completely overindulgent in marijuana and became one of those wake and bake people that ruined their life.
Sure.
And I think people can do that with almost any substance, anything that's psychoactive at least. I think people do that with cigarettes where they need that fucking cigarette more than they need anything. I think a lot of AA people do that with cigarettes and alcohol. They replace their weird addiction to alcohol to something that's not as bad for them. I think there's a lot of things for the developing mind, particularly for the developing mind, that we have available to us all the time that are really dangerous. You know, I had Henry Rollins on here. He was talking about when he was a little kid. He was like 5-year-old. They put him on Ritalin.
Yeah.
By the time he was 5. I think that's fucking horrible. I think psych meds for little kids that don't necessarily need them, but maybe they're just a little too energetic. I think all that shit's horrible. So whether it's marijuana or alcohol or Quaaludes or whatever you want to give a 15-year-old kid that's got a developing mind, I think there's massive consequences, and I don't think you can really calculate those consequences. That's my position.
I think you can calculate those consequences.
Well, I think you can, but I mean, you would have to fuck up a lot of kids in order to really prove the statistical viability of what damage is being done to kids and how much would cause the damage.
Are you talking about Ritalin now? Or are you
I'm talking about Quaaludes, alcohol, marijuana, heroin,
who does
meth.
Quaaludes in 2017?
Wow, Quaaludes, Oxys. Let's go with Oxycontins. I'm just talking about downers. I'm talking about anything where it's a depressant or a stimulant. There's a significant amount of effects across the
Oxy's
board.
a barbiturate, by the way. I think it's just classified as a narcotic. It's not like a downer, like a benzodiazepine or something.
Or aren't opiates considered a downer?
I don't think they're official.
They both seem so sad, right? They're both so bitter at each other, but they have to keep talking.
Considered barbiturates.
Well,
I think they're.
Is it a depressant? Alcohol's a depressant, right?
Alcohol's a central nervous system depressant.
Right.
But I know something like a Quaalude or I actually knew a power lifter where the only drug he could. It was a prescription. People don't remember this. The date rape drug was a prescribed drug. A guy named Chad.
One of the date rape drugs.
Well, whatever the most common date rape drug. I don't know if it's actually Rufalin or whatever it's called. But most commonly used or the most effective date rape drug.
I know what you're thinking about, but I can't. It's not coming to me. I know the drug, but it's a weird one where it helps bodybuilders sleep.
Well, this guy was a power lifter.
Yeah. Power lifters do it too because it actually infers more
growth hormone.
Well, not just growth hormone, but recovery time because they have like deep sleep. What is it called?
But you know what I'm talking about.
What is it?
It's used as a date rape drug.
Or hypnol. That's not what you're talking
No,
about.
not that's roofies.
Yeah.
That's roofies. There's another thing. I know what you're talking
But
about.
it's used
though.
as a date rape drug.
Yes.
And there was a guy who
If you
actually
give
that was the
people a lot
only
of
thing
it.
he could sleep on. And,
Right.
and then it became so they don't prescribe it anymore. He had insomnia. He had like an 1100 squat. Was not quite world record, but close to it. And lived out in Reno, Nevada. And that was the only way he could sleep. When he wasn't able to get it anymore, his lifts
Did you find it?
fell.
Progestrix?
No.
Couldn't be.
No. God damn it. It's got a real common name. I'll text my buddy because he had an overdose of it.
God.
But he was like 18. Oh, God. Hold on a second. Can you talk, please? For a moment while I pull
You
this
want
up?
me to talk?
GHB?
I don't know what you want to talk about.
GHB. Thank you. That's it.
I'm pissed.
I had
I'm
a
missing
buddy
my
of mine-
flight. I have a show to do tomorrow. And
Where are you
that's
going?
Not gonna happen. I have to go back. I have a show tomorrow.
A TV show or radio? Oh, your
My
show?
show to do. There's no way we're going to get it done.
Us making up is going to be so good for your show and my show, too.
No, it's not. The entire commentary from this is going to be, oh my God, what a moron. He thinks weed doesn't cure cancer.
No, man. We're gonna
I
be
guarantee
fine.
it. I guarantee
Yeah,
it.
but don't worry about it. We're gonna get through this and get through it in a way that makes sense. Look,
to rebook my flight.
I definitely get.
Was this the last appearance? Because if so, that's glorious.
Weird with these conversations, and I assume everybody can get, fake hostile with me. So if I call
Yeah,
it,
poor
come on,
little
bitch,
Crowder.
I talk to you like that. I don't mean it in a negative. I do it like I would do it if you were Brian Callen, and he would start laughing along.
Yeah.
But you live in Michigan, you get a little sensitive.
Come on,
you're
no. When you go, that's adorable. Let's not act
That
like
is
that's
adorable.
No. Hold on a second. When you said that's not meant to, and we were joking about other topics, but on that you lasered in, got serious. You're wrong. Let's stay on this. Pound it in. That's just it's
Still so hurt?
just I don't understand the purpose to it.
Have some fun.
So that's fun.
It's a little bit of fun.
So you like doing that. You like
Jokification.
having someone in
certain-
disagreeing with them
when
and going
someone's
to town.
getting a little silly, like I think you might have got a little
little bit of chaos.
silly. I like
Really?
to have a little fun.
Got a little silly. Did I bring up the pot issue? I said it's the issue I care about the least.
Come on, man, let's get away from that. We're free. We're out of the woods.
All
We're back on the road. We're doing good.
I'm
You just
on
want
the
to
road.
grab the
I don't
wheel
know.
and
I
go
don't
fucking
have any
crazy
place to get
again.
back.
Turn towards the trees. Don't do it. Resist.
Well, the best is over. That was glorious, though. That was like almost an hour straight of pure, unadulterated rage between the two of them. And it was really neat to see that Steven Crowder is the exact same as he used to be. Yeah, it was really intense. I was decently surprised. I didn't think it was going to get that violent.
Oh no, Sam Cedar, what a fucking nightmare. Oh no, Sam Cedar, what a fucking nightmare. Oh no, Sam Cedar, what a fucking nightmare. Oh no, Sam Cedar, what a fucking nightmare.
I always respect people who enter into the arena. You're gonna do anything you can to avoid the debate. Come on, man. Look, no idea that you were taking your show off early last time. I had no idea this was going to happen.
Do you enjoy the Serfs but prefer not to have to use your eyeballs? Many are saying this. Well, we've got the solution for you. It's the Serf Times in podcast form, available on most major podcasting networks now. If you enjoy it, please consider leaving a good review and feedback because it really helps the show out, apparently, and it's free, just like the podcast.
To our gods, Xander Corvus and Peyton L. Just, we will build a ladder to heaven to deliver you the daily news. To our monarch, Tom Spiker, we are your most humble of clownish jesters. To our lords, Trevor R. and Alexander Thaler, you have our undying fealty. To our knights of the round table, Nate, that one guy, Hagbird Celine, Matthew Scarborough, Stellar Vision, Ariana McCarthy, Daniel Sutton, Ants Are Still Running the World, Coulter Smith, Tom Groh, Val 9000, Jenna Tal, Quiet 185, Anna Loves Riley, Riley and Anna, Omni, Poodlehawk, The Tim Caucus, Multimondi, Trevor Janis, Lemmy 101, Anthropophojack, Saren 42, Chronic to Hemphog, Catherine, Radical Maniac, Ramon Acosta, Incosin, Violent Orchard, Sophie Baby, Political Puppy, Andreas Chiringuito, Zach Christensen, Josh Mickelson, Todd Buckingham, and Todd Lajeunesse. We shall meet you in the tavern, and we raise a drink, and we salute you.